because we are becoming corporate secretaries, and we'll be sitting in the board meetings to make decisions with the rest of the team. It is expected of us that we shall make sound decisions, shall be very firm with the decisions that we also make. Like in the previous chapter, when we were looking at ESG, I believe as corporate secretaries, we'll see to it that the organizations that we work for will consider environment, sustainability, being involved or included in our financial statements, reportings. And so today we are going to look at chapter number 8, ethical behavior. Ethical behavior, ethics, is about our professional behavior as we work in our respective institutions. Ethics, as our course outline is corporate governance and ethics. Ethics is not a new word to us. We've been relating with it for some time. And ethics, actually, it's a common word that we have related with in various other aspects. Maybe it's just like the definition of it all. Just by looking at this topic as ethical behavior, that's when you're also going to define what ethics is all about. So ethics is, we can just say it's a study, refers to the study of what is right or wrong, good or bad, as simple as it is. It's a study of what is right or wrong, good or bad in human conduct. It's about an individual, a human being. It involves the systematic examination of moral principles and standards that guide human behavior. What guides you as a human? How do you behave? What guides you? What teaches you to see something or judge something, whether it's good or wrong? It's the principles that govern a person's behavior. That is what ethics is all about. So we can say ethics seeks to provide a framework for making morally sound decisions and evaluating the ethical implications of the actions. Every actions have got consequences. So what informs you as you make decisions, right or bad decisions? That human conduct, that behavior, that each and every one of us has is what ethics is all about. So let's look at what is morality. Morality, all these terms, ethics, morality, values, and integrity, they are all interconnected or interrelated. So when we look at morality, we're also looking at decisions, human behavior. We are saying that morality refers to principles, norms, and rules that govern human behavior based on a sense of right or wrong. Just like ethics, it's the issue of what influences your behavior, right or wrong behaviors, But now in morality, we are going to consider things that influence your behavior, things like religion, Religion takes place, informs you on how to behave, So here, religion comes in. Culture also, this issue of culture also falls in place to define or to help you define what kind of a person you become, your behavioral system, Issues of like society, Society and culture, society, where you live, The people you relate with, Personal beliefs. I don't know whether personal beliefs and religion are the same, but we can also talk of personal beliefs. Personal beliefs. Now, this affects the way you behave, and that is what is morality here, So you see, they are interrelated with ethics, But now here, there is a lot of influence on the kind of religion that you believe in, or your culture, society, or personal beliefs also influence your behavior system. So we can say that morality shapes our understanding of what is virtuous and just, and it plays a significant role in guiding our actions. So whatever you believe in can help you to help you define the way you make decisions. Now that is about morality. Now we look at values. These things are interrelated because even values you define the way you behave. So values are deeply held beliefs. So you see again for values here, the issue of belief system, values, beliefs also comes in. The issue of deeply held beliefs or principles that guide our choices and actions. Just the same words that you use to define ethics and morality, it is what guides you to define the actions that you do. So we can say that they represent what we consider important and meaningful in life. Your value system helps you to consider what is important and what is insignificant. Yeah. So values can include concepts like, under values, now we include concepts like honesty. We consider those values. Now you define the value system that guides your behavior or the way you make decisions. So under values, we can look at things, concepts like honesty. We can consider things, values like respect. Yeah, respect. We can consider compassion. Now, these are the value systems we are listing down here. Compassion, equality, and many more. Yeah, our values influence our decisions and behavior, and they play a role in shaping our individuals and collective identities. So you see, the values that you have listed here, like honesty. Let's take an example of honesty or respect. You see the same things here. They are influenced by what we defined here under morality when we talked about religion influencing you on the way you behave or make decisions. So you see, religion can help you to be respectful and also be full of honesty, be full of compassion. So these things are interrelated. They're one and the same things. Let's look at integrity, because I believe even integrity should have fallen under the values. Yeah, it can also be involved or included in that list. So let's consider integrity. The integrity now is what we are defining. And you're saying that integrity is the quality of being honest. You see, the things that we have defined under values, yeah, is what we use the same words to define what is integrity. Yeah, and you're saying that integrity is the quality of being honest. Yeah, now you become honest. Yeah, ethical and having strong moral principles. So you still bring the issues of morality and we are defining integrity. So it involves consistency between one's action, values, and words. You become a person of integrity. What defines you when someone says you are full of integrity? Then you have those values that we listed here, yeah, and behaviors and conduct. You decide what is right and what is wrong. So someone with integrity is seen as trustworthy and dependable as they adhere to their principles even when faced with challenges or temptations. For integrity is a matter of choice where you decide, I'll be transparent, I'll be honest, yeah, I'll be trustworthy. So they are all issues about human behavior and what causes you to behave the way you behave. So we've defined those terms, and as professionals, it is expected of us that will be full of ethics. We'll be people who are morally upright, full of values. You can list down your value system. Maybe it's defined by the religion that you believe in, or maybe your culture. Integrity also, you choose to be trustworthy in your dealings, in the organization that you are working for, and even as a person in life, yeah, you can be led by, you can become a person full of integrity. It can become a virtue for you. So let's look at ethics and regulation. So when you're looking at ethics and regulation, you're comparing ethics, which you have defined here as what guides you, what makes you choose something to be right or wrong. And regulation here, we are involving laws, yeah? Laws. We are looking at the laws and regulations as defined by the governing bodies. So we're saying regulation refers to rules, yeah, can be even rules here. We are looking at now regulation, rules and laws and guidelines established by, also guidelines, but then they are established by governing bodies, yeah. Now here, like the government, governing bodies or authorities, they are established authorities. Now, these are the rules. For regulation, we've got the rules, the laws, the guidelines, but that are established by the governing bodies, organizations, or authorities to control and govern specific behavior or activities. Now, these ones are reinforced by the governing authorities. If you don't choose to build those ethics as a person, then the regulations where regulations means the laws and rules and guidelines come in to enforce those things. Yeah. So it's a matter of choice. Both of them are interrelated. So regulation helps to enforce the ethics, yeah, through the governing bodies and the authorities. So that's how ethics versus regulation work. So it is expected that the regulations will not help you to become ethical, but it is expected that you are ethical as a professional. So let's look at number 3, ethics versus corporate governance. Remembering that you are part of the team that makes the organization, makes decisions, strategic decisions for the organization, you as the corporate secretary, yeah, then you're expected one to be ethical. The whole topic is about ethical behavior. And you have seen some of the things that define a person who is ethically correct. So we are looking at ethics versus corporate governance. And we are saying there is an interplay between ethics and corporate governance. So ethics and corporate governance are closely related concepts that play significant roles in shaping the behavior, decision-making processes, and overall functioning of businesses and organizations. You can't separate ethics and corporate governance. Yeah. So we are saying ethics in corporate governance. What is ethics? How is it related to corporate governance? We said corporate governance is how an organization uses principles, practices, processes, yeah, to direct, how the board of directors uses that to direct, control an organization. And then remember, in the organization, the stakeholders are there. There has to be a relationship between the board and all the stakeholders, as we defined from topic number 1. So there has to exist a relationship, and of course, responsibilities between the board and the stakeholders. So, and we're saying in the midst of the relationship and the responsibility, then ethics has to be inclusive. There has to be ethics. Yeah. So we're saying that how do you bring ethics in corporate governance? One of the ways is through code of conduct. Yeah. So here we can say one of the ways is through code of conduct. Code of conduct. What does that mean? Corporate governance often includes a formal code of conduct or ethics that outlines the values, principles, and ethical standards expected of employees, executives, and board members. Every organization has a code of conduct. Yeah, corporate governance often include a formal code of conduct. Yeah, every organization has a formal code of conduct that is written and should be known by all the employees. So that helps the board of directors, who also are part of the these employees. They're also part of the organization. They are the non-executives, or executives. They are all working for the same organization. So there's this form of conduct. Yeah, it's a formal code of conduct or ethics that outlines the values. What are the values of the organization? Is this organization the way we said the values like honesty, transparency, are they well defined within the organization as conduct, code of conduct? The principles, ethical standards, what are the standards that is expected of every employee within the organization? Are they well documented? Are they well written as in a code of, in a formal document? So one of the ways is by code of conduct. That's how ethics and corporate governance are interrelated. The other way is through decision making. Through decision making. Yeah, through decision making. What are you saying about decision making? We're saying that ethical considerations are crucial in the decision making processes of corporate governance. Decisions should align with ethical principles and contribute to the long-term well-being of the company, its stakeholders, and society at large. Remembering the previous topic that we did, I think it was chapter number 2, where we were looking at the decision-making process of the board. And we were saying the decision-making process, yeah, as you make those decisions, are they aligned to the ethical standards, the code of conduct of the business, yeah? So we are saying that corporate governance often informs or includes, is ethical considerations. The kind of decisions that you make, are they ethical? Yeah, are they harmful to the staff? Are they considerate to the stakeholders, like maybe the suppliers? Yeah, the decisions that you make, if they are weighed, are they ethically correct? Do you make unethical decisions that will affect the staff who work for the organization? So in our decision making as board, yeah, we have to be very ethical. And that means even board itself, the members of the board should also be ethically and morally accurate. So that will influence the way they make the decisions. So another way that ethics and corporate governance interrelates, or it is interconnected, is by looking at the stakeholders' interests. Stakeholders' interest. Yeah. How does the board look at the stakeholders' interest? Yeah. Stakeholders, yeah, interest. We know the stakeholders, as we keep defining them, is includes the shareholders, the employees, customers, suppliers, and the community. So balancing these interests requires ethical judgment. You see, all these people have got concerns and they have got interest with the organization, within the organization. So how do you balance the concerns of the suppliers and the concerns of the financiers? How do you balance how do you make judgments, yeah, when you're judging them? So there has to be that you apply ethics, yeah, for there to be equality of judgment, or ethical judgment when you are relating with all the stakeholders of the organization. That's where you apply ethics, yeah. So the other area that you're going to look at is through transparency and accountability. Transparency and accountability. And in that, we're saying that ethical corporate governance promotes transparency in operations. Remember, you are the ones who are offering oversight to the employees, the people who are involved in the day-to-day operations of the organization. So there has to be transparency and accountability, because ethical corporate governance promotes transparency in operations, financial reporting, yeah, decision-making. Organizations are accountable for their actions to stakeholders and society. Definitely, you are the eyes of the shareholders. You represent the interest of the shareholders. So it is expected of you that you will become trustworthy on matters like issues of the financial statements or reporting, the operations, the resources that has been given to you or entrusted to you, bearing in mind your agents working on behalf of the principal, the resources that are entrusted to you, you're expected to be very responsible, yeah, respectful. So transparency and accountability is very key when you're discussing corporate governance in relation to ethics. So the other thing that we can look at is by avoiding conflict of interest. Yeah. Let me write it here. Conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. What are we saying? We are saying that ethical corporate governance requires identifying and managing conflicts of interest among board members. You as a board member, do you have interests? That personal interest, personal gratifying, you want to gratify some interest as a person, as an individual, not for the good of the organization. So we're saying that conflicts of interest, this works against ethics. Yeah, if you're a board member and you have some personal interest that you want to gratify, yeah, then you are an ethical sitting in a board and running or being entrusted for the shareholders of interest of the shareholders, yeah. So it means conflict of interest is not conflict of interest can bring ethics, can put ethics at risk. So we are saying that ethical corporate governance requires identifying and managing conflicts of interest among board members, executives, and employees to ensure that decisions are made in the best interest of the organization. Yeah, that is self-explanatory. Yeah. So that one is not allowed. Yeah, if you are there, you have to disclose and see to it that you help as a board, so that you don't bring your interests first before the interests of the organization. So you're going to look at the roles of the board in promoting ethical behavior. We're now going to consider the roles of the board. The roles of the board, in promoting ethical conduct. Roles of the board here. Ethical, this is ethical conduct. What is the role of the board in promoting ethical conduct in an organization? Remembering that the board is the one that is driving the engine of the organization. So what is the role of the board as a team in promoting ethical conduct, yeah, in the organization? So we're saying that the board is involved in setting ethical tone and culture. This one here, we are saying that as the board, they're the ones who are involved, yeah, in setting. They must be involved in setting, setting ethical tone and culture. Involved in setting ethical tone and culture. That's the first thing, the first step that board members are expected to do. Yeah, the roles of the board in promoting ethical conduct is by being involved in setting ethical tone and culture. How do they do that? The board establishes a strong ethical tone at the top, conveying the organization's commitment to integrity, transparency, and responsible behavior. This is the issue of what? You are the ones who are the top here, the top management, yeah, the top management here, the top management involved in making decisions, strategic decisions for the whole company. So you must make decisions, or you're involved in setting ethical tone and culture. You can't be setting, you can't be telling people to do what you are not, yeah? In other words, that's what we are saying. You lead by being an example. Yeah, you have to declare, people must see you're responsible. Yeah, people must see that you are transparent as a board. Yeah, people must see integrity. The values that you define, you can't expect them to be with the employees or the suppliers, and yet you yourselves as the board do not demonstrate the same. So we are saying that by setting ethical tone, as in you are leading by example. That's what we are saying in point number 1. You become the examples, yeah, leading by example. So that is what is called, that is what number 1 is talking about, being involved in setting ethical tone and culture. You see, the moment you read by example, it becomes a culture. It automatically becomes a culture within the organization, yeah, to be emulated by the others, yeah. So let's look at another role of the board in promoting ethical conduct is by developing and communicating the values. Yes, you have been involved in setting the tone and the culture, but then do you communicate those values? So number 2 is communicating those values. But you know, the way of communicating is not just by being verbal, yeah, just communicating and saying this is the way things are expected from you, but it has also to be seen in you, yeah. So it's not just an issue of being verbal. So developing and communicating values. The board defines the company's core values and ethical principles that guide behavior and decision-making at all levels. So they must define and also communicate so that everyone, all the stakeholders, know the values that are expected from them. The role of the board in promoting ethical conduct is by overseeing ethical policies and code. Yeah, you overseeing ethical code. Ethical policies and codes. Yeah, codes and policies. Yeah, you oversee ethical codes and policies. What does that mean? The board is responsible for approving and regularly reviewing the organization's code of conduct and ethical policies. Yeah, you are there to oversee which ones are working for the organizations. You are there to review the organization's code of conduct. Yeah, there are some reviews that have to be made. There's some maybe values that were written those days when the organizations were starting, but then they need to be reviewed. Yeah, we need to review the organization's code of conduct and ethical policies. New policies may come in and some policies may become outdated. So it is the work of the board to oversee ethical codes and policies. So that's number 3. Number 4, they are also involved in monitoring. You can use the word here, monitoring. Monitoring what? Ethical compliance. Yeah. Monitoring ethical compliance. The board ensures that the organization's ethical policies and codes are being implemented effectively across all departments and levels. There has to be monitoring. Yeah. Whether all those policies and all those code of conduct as defined are being implemented. So the work of the board is to monitor the monitoring ethical compliance. The other thing, number 5 is ethical decision-making oversight. Yeah, in that, we're saying that the board provides oversight for major decisions. That one we had discussed somewhere else, oversight. Where am I saying? Overseeing ethical codes and policies. Equally, we can also say the oversight in decision-making. Now, this one is critical because in decision-making, the role of the board in promoting ethical conduct. Remember, this is the engine that defines where the organization is going. So we are saying that the board provides oversight for major decisions, ensuring they align with the organization's ethical values and long-term assets. As you sit as board members may coming up with strategic decisions or decisions for the organization, yeah, do you evaluate to see whether they are aligned to the mission, to the vision of the organization, to the values of the organization? So there is a big task there for the board to provide oversight for major decisions and ensuring they align with the organization's ethical values. Yeah. So the other one is on issues like risk management and mitigation. The board identifies and assesses ethical risks that the organization may face and implements strategies to mitigate them. So all those are the ways or the roles of how the board promotes ethical conduct. But the main key to that, the main point or the most weighty or the most thing to consider here is where the board, they themselves as members, are they ethical? Are they propagating the same? Because if they are not, then even by overseeing and monitoring and communicating verbally to the staff may not make a very big difference, but they need to, and that's why even at the point of nominating them, yeah, people vote because they consider things like maybe the value system, the integrity, the transparency of that person. You vote the person. So the board should not disappoint the people who voted them by becoming unethical. Yeah. So we are now looking at defining business ethics. We've been discussing the individual part of it. You as an individual, you as a board member, because even as a board, it starts as an individual. Individuals come together or they are appointed to become board members. But now we're looking at defining now the business, the bigger business. And you see, even in the business, the individuals still work in the business. So we are defining the business ethics. And what are we defining? Business ethics refers to the principles, the same things that we define when it comes to an individual. Is the same way that you're going to define it in the context of, but now in the context of business, yeah? So we're saying that business ethics refers to the principles. There are also principles. Yeah, that word has to be there. Values, you can't separate the word values when you're defining ethics. Yeah, principles, values, and standards. Yeah, and standards. that guide ethical behavior and decision-making within the realm of business and organizational activities. Now, these are the things that also define how an organization, defining business ethics. So we're saying that principles, values, and standards that guide ethical behavior, and decision-making within the realm of business and organizational activities. It encompasses the moral considerations and responsibilities that individuals and organizations should uphold while conducting business operations. You see, you're still bringing the issue of individuals because individuals work in their businesses. So we are saying moral considerations and responsibilities that individuals and organizations should uphold. Now, the individuals uphold those standards, and in effect, the organization upholds. So, because organization is defined by the individuals who work in it. So, uphold while conducting business operations, interacting with the stakeholders, and pursuing economic objectives. So, you can't separate the business from the individual's ethics. So, ethics of the individuals affect the business ethics because they are inseparable. So we are defining the business, but using the individuals. So key components of ethical policy. So we are saying that then in an organization, there should be a policy that defines ethics. Ethical policy. An ethical policy is a corporate governance that outlines the principles. Then we have to have a policy within the organization that outlines all the principles that run the organization, the values and guidelines that guide ethical behavior and decision-making within an organization. It serves as a roadmap. Now, that is an ethical policy. An ethical policy is that document that defines all the principles or the values that run the organization. It acts like a roadmap. I'm discussing the ethical policy. This is a document, that defines, that contains all the principles, values and guidelines that guide an ethical behavior and decision-making within an organization. It serves as a roadmap for employees. If it is a policy, then it serves as a roadmap. What is a roadmap? A roadmap gives direction of where you're going. You are in the middle of the city center and you see this road, the name helps you to know where to go and where maybe the destination of where you're going. So we're saying that this ethical policy, serves as a roadmap to the employees, executives, stakeholders to understand the organization's commitment to integrity and responsible conduct. So it's very important for every organization to have, for every business to have an ethical policy that helps or guides everyone, executives, everybody, non-executives, that directs the roadmap for the employees, executives, stakeholders to understand the organization's commitment to integrity and responsible conduct. So what is included in the ethical policy? Of course, you have said the principles and the values that guide, but then the following are key components that are typically included in an ethical policy. Ethical policy is a very key document to have in an organization. The key policy. So we're saying that it includes the missions. Under the ethical policy, it has some of the components is mission and goals. This is ethical policy. It has part of the things that are there, part of the things that are included in the ethical policy is the mission and values. Definitely missions. We have a mission statement for the organization. So missions and values are included in the ethical policy. Then we also have code of conduct. Code of conduct. Then we have stakeholders' commitment. All the commitment stakeholders, all the commitment of the employees, of the suppliers, of the financials, of the regulators. So all the stakeholders commitment It also is involved, commitment is included in the ethical policy. Yeah. Then the leadership roles of the board, the executives, the managers. How do we resolve conflict of interest? Yeah, it's also included in the ethical policy, conflict of interest. In the event that one of the board members has issues of conflict of interest, how should it be addressed? Yeah, whistleblower protection. There are people who are called whistleblowers. Yeah, whistleblowers. The word whiz. Yeah, there is a T there. Then whistle blower. Whistleblower protection. We are going to see who a whistleblower is, but has to be protected. That is also covered under the ethical policy. Then fair employment practices, which also defines the employer and the employee terms of practices. Yeah. So employment, fair employment practices is also included in the ethical policies. It's a very key document to have in an organization. Yeah, because it helps everyone to understand their roles. Yeah, it reminds you of the mission and the vision of the organization, the code of conduct, the stakeholders' commitment. You as a staff, what is your commitment to the organization? Yeah, you as an executive board, what is your commitment to the organization? If you have conflict of interest, how shall we help you? Yeah, if you're a whistleblower, you see something going wrong and you want to speak about it, how are you going to be protected? Yeah, it's all covered under the ethical policy. Yeah, so that one is, and we were trying to still define the business ethics in that. So we're now looking at the culture, ethical culture. Ethical culture is next. We are looking at now here, ethical culture. This one here, ethical culture. Culture. Ethical culture refers to the collective values. Culture is issues again of value. Yeah. Culture, you can't discuss culture and fail to mention values, beliefs. Yeah. Beliefs, values, what is this? Norms. Now, those are the things that make culture. Yeah. Ethical culture refers to the collective values, beliefs, norms, and behaviors within an organization. Of course, the word behavior has to be there. Yeah. Behaviors within the organization. Yeah. Within the organization that shape its approach to ethics and guide the behavior of its employees. Ethical culture. What are these values that are upheld by an organization? What is the belief system? What are the norms? What are the behaviors within an organization that shape its approach to ethics and guide the behavior of its employees? Yeah, all this, the culture guides the behaviors of the employees, leaders, and stakeholders. It represents the organizational environment and the prevailing attitudes towards ethical considerations and responsible conduct. So this is also very key. So key aspects of ethical culture, definitely it's about values and systems. Yeah, value system, the leadership roles, all those things. They are also very important because culture defines the organization. That's where you say people see the culture of an organization and they're able to know what kind of an organization it is. Yeah, it gives an image to the public by looking at the culture, the values, the beliefs, the norms, and the behaviors of the stakeholders. Yeah. So culture is very key because it refers to the collective value, belief, norms, and behaviors within an organization that shapes its approach to ethics and guides the behavior of its employees, leaders, and stakeholders. So this one guides, it seems like to define the whole organization. This is our culture. When every stakeholder is aware of what is expected of him or her, yeah, then that's what defines whether an organization is ethically correct or not. So culture also is very key, ethical culture, all those values, beliefs that define individuals and also to an extent define communication, the whole organization. So from there, we're going to look at conflicts of interest and related parties. Maybe it's to define conflict of interest, and there are two terms. Yeah, these are two terms, conflict of interest. We've got two terms here. We've got the conflict of interest here. Maybe we can start with this one, and the related parties. And we are saying conflict of interest. These are your personal interests when they come before the interest of the organization. Yeah. And we can say that a conflict of interest occurs when an individual's personal or financial interest interferes with their professional or official responsibilities. It can create situations where the individual's judgment or decision-making might be compromised due to the potential personal gain. This is bringing your issues, your personal, you want to gain as an individual. You are employed by this organization, but you also want to gain as an individual, not the organization gaining from what you offer. Now, that is conflict of interest, and it is not right. Yeah, conflict of interest supposed to be disclosed, and it is not all right. How conflicts of interest are typically managed? In the event that I am in the board, but I have my own personal interests within the organization, how is that going to be managed? So because those things are common, because part of the board may be made up of, maybe like the non-executives, may be made up by some significant board members. They are there to represent their interests. So how do we balance? How do we manage that? Yeah. How conflicts of interest are typically managed? How do we manage conflicts of interest? Because you have seen these are personal, you want to gain as a person, personal gain. Yeah. By disclosing, you just disclose. Yeah. It is important for there to be disclosure of common of interest, conflict of interest, disclosure. Yeah. Disclosure. That's number one. Individuals with potential conflict of interest are often required. It is expected of you. You are required, yeah, to disclose. You are required. It is an expectation. Yeah, you're supposed to disclose. Individuals with potential conflict of interest are often required to disclose this interest to relevant parties, such as their supervisors, colleagues, or regulatory authorities. One thing to do is there has to be disclosure if you have personal interest. Yeah. Number two is maybe like recusal. Let me see. Recusal or recusal. In situations where a conflict of interest might influence a decision, the involved individual may be required to recuse themselves from participating in decisions or discussions related to that matter. That is like a judge, like maybe you want to make a judgment. Definitely will not make a good or a sober judgment because you want to favor yourself. And so you can practice recusal by withdrawing yourself from a judgment that is supposed to be made. The other thing that can help or to help manage conflict of interest is by having ethics committee. Yeah, ethics committee. Sorry, am I writing commission? Committee. Yeah, ethics committee. Yeah. So what is the work of the ethics committee? Some organizations have ethics committee that review and assess potential conflicts of interest and determine the appropriate course of action. Yeah, some organizations do have ethics committee so that they evaluate and they think of what should be done. So that's also a way of managing conflicts of interest. Another way is by being transparent. Ensuring transparency in disclosing and addressing conflicts of interest help build trust among stakeholders and prevents the perception of impropriety. So by being transparent, transparency also helps, but that also goes together with disclosure, where you disclose your interests, yeah? Then, of course, having an independent oversight. So where you know you have conflict of interest, you avoid giving oversight and you allow other people to give their oversights. Yeah, having an independent party review potential conflicts of interest can help ensure unbiased decisions and assessment. Because definitely, if you have conflict of interest, yeah, you'll give biased decisions. You'll make biased judgment. So you withdraw and you allow independent oversight by other members who do not have conflicts of interest. So those are some of the ways to help manage conflicts of interest. And so now we look at the related parties. Who are the related parties? Related parties. Related parties, yeah? Related parties. These are transactions. Maybe to start by asking, who are the related parties? Related parties are people who have influence, yeah? They have influence over decisions within an organization. That's why they are closely related with the conflicts of interest, because anyone who is a related party has a form of influence towards the organization. And so we are saying related party transactions involve exchange of goods and services or financial transactions between an organization and its related parties. Related parties can include, these related parties can include executives, those who are top managers or operations managers. Related parties can include executive board members, can include executive board members or non-executive board members, or significant shareholders. Significant shareholders. These are the significant, wale wenyewe, you know, significant shareholders and entities under their control, or some entities you have dealings with, yeah, but they have control over this organization, yeah. So these transactions have the potential to raise concerns about fairness. Why? Because there is conflict of interest. Yeah, the significant shareholders may have influence on the decisions that are being made. That means you cannot separate this and this. They are interconnected, they are interrelated. Yeah, significant shareholders. So the transactions have the potential to raise concerns about fairness, transparency. So those things now lack in transactions. There is no fairness where there is issues of conflicts and related parties. There is no transparency. There is no transparency and potential conflicts of interest. So how do we manage situations where there are related parties within the organization? Equally, we'll just manage the way we have agreed to manage issues of conflict of interest by disclosure, the way we said, by allowing an independent party oversight, independence oversight, yeah, reviewing the independent directors, all those things. They are all the same. The way you manage the people who have conflict of interest is the same way that you manage people with or the related parties. So we're now going to move to the insider trading. Sorry, it's not supposed to be training, supposed to be trading. Need to correct here. This is supposed to be trading, not training. Trading. Insider trading. What is insider trading? Yeah. Insider traders, yeah, refers to the act of buying or selling a company's securities. This is more of companies which do sale of securities, yeah. And this person who works for this organization has some inside information and wants to use that inside information to benefit, just like conflict of interest, yeah. It should have been here also. You want to gain, your person to gain to do a trade for your personal gain. You have some inside information, like maybe they say there's a drop in the sales securities, yeah. And so instead of doing that for the organization, you trade as an individual so that you can gain that personal gain. So he's saying insider trading refers to the act of buying or selling a company securities such as stocks or bonds based on material non-public information about the company. This practice is generally considered illegal because it gives individuals an unfair advantage in the market and undermines the principle of fair and equal access to information for all investors. So what happens is that you've got prior knowledge about what is going to happen, And so you use that knowledge for your own benefit. Now it's highly condemned, and that is not, it's unethical. It's an unethical act. So that's all about insider trading, especially for organizations that deal with securities, bonds, yeah, or stocks in the market. So how do we prevent insider trading? Yeah, if you're the person, and definitely you'll have prior knowledge of what is to happen. How are we going to prevent insider trading? There has to be clear policies to manage insider trading, yeah, clear policies that define what should happen. So under clear policies, we are saying companies should establish clear insider trading policies and educate employees, executives, and directors about the legal and ethical implications of trading based on non-public information. There has to be clear principles that guide, so that in the event one is does insider trading, what should the organization do? Yeah, there has to be clear policies that define. We find that maybe you come up with a system where there is pre-clearance. Employees and insiders might need to seek pre-clearance from the legal or compliance department before trading. You come up with a pre-clearance, yeah? Pre-clearance. This one will help to show or to eliminate that you can't do something for yourselves before. That knowledge cannot help you. You can't use that knowledge for your own gain. So there is a pre-clearance before maybe the trading takes place. Yeah. By also monitoring and reporting. Monitoring has to be done for people who are insider traders. Yeah. Monitoring and reporting. Companies should monitor trading activities of insiders. Yeah. Maybe now this is going to your personal information. Yeah, to be monitored and to be reported. Any transactions to regulatory bodies. Yeah, so that now puts your personal accounts at risk because you have to be monitored. And in the event the activities that are done behind the back of the organization, then they need to be reported. Yeah, then there should be also like promotion of education and training about the insider trader and trading, education and training. Education and training, where we are saying that regular training programs can help employees understand the importance of avoiding, train your staffs or the employees of how the importance of avoiding insider trading and the potential consequences, yeah, for non-compliance. It's important just there are clear policies that define the effects or the consequences, but it's also important to educate and train the employees so that they may know the repercussions of insider trading. So we are now going to look at the organization's integrity. Yeah. When we deal with ethics and behavior, the conclusion of the matter is we want to come up with an organization that is full of integrity. Yeah, that promotes integrity, standards of conduct and personal integrity. Yeah. So, but before it comes to the organization, definitely it also starts with the individuals. And so it starts with the individuals becoming becoming full of integrity, standards and conduct. Personal integrity are foundational principles that guide ethical behavior in various aspects of life, including personal interactions, professional, all those things. Standards of conduct are established guidelines that define acceptable behavior with a specific context. So personal integrity refers to an individual's adherence to their own ethical principles and values, even when no one is watching. It involves consistency between one's words, actions, and beliefs. So it starts as an individual before it comes to the organization's integrity. So let's look at the organization integrity now, where we are saying that organization integrity refers to the consistent adherence to ethical principles, yeah, values and standards throughout all aspects of an organization's operations and interactions. Involves aligning actions, decisions, behaviors with the organization's core values and demonstrating honesty, transparency, and accountability in all dealings. Yeah. For an organization to be full of integrity, there has to be accountability. Those things you can't define organization integrity and fail to mention words like accountability, fail to mention words like transparency. Yeah, accountability, transparency, honesty. Yeah, so all those things, yeah, they are the ones that are used to define whether an organization is full of integrity. So we are saying aspects of organizational integrity, it is demonstrated by the leadership. Yeah, if the leadership is ethically correct, then yeah, if an organization is an organization of integrity, then it is expressed through the leadership. Yeah, ethical leadership. It is expressed through clear values and standards. It is expressed by words like accountability, transparency, and being honest. It is full of, it protects whistleblowers, which we are coming to here. Yeah, it also protects such humans. Yeah, so that's how to define an organization that is, or to identify an organization that is full of integrity. You just have to look at their leadership. Yeah, you look at the leadership, and if the leadership is ethical, you can tell that that organization is full of integrity. If you consider and look at, you're able to define an organization by using terms like accountable, transparent, honest, then you're discussing an organization that is full of integrity. So let's look at who is whistleblowing. Is also a term that you're supposed to define here, whistleblowing. And I think we have interacted with that word sometime in the topic still. But you're saying whistleblowing refers to the act of reporting unethical, illegal, or improper activities within an organization to individuals or entities that have the authority or responsibility to address the issues. Whistleblowers often expose wrongdoing that poses risks to the organization, public safety, the environment, or the well-being of employees and stakeholders. So these are people who take upon themselves to disclose dealings, yeah, that are not favoring the organization. Yeah, wrongdoings that pose risks to the organization. In our country, I think we know of an issue of a story about a whistleblower. But you see, as a whistleblower, you're supposed to be protected. Yeah, the media should not go talking about what you said. Yeah, it's supposed to be a secret when you expose the wrongdoings of a company. Yeah, because you're uncovering the wrongdoing to save or to salvage the organization. So the importance of whistleblowing is that you're uncovering wrongdoing. You're also protecting the public interest. Yeah, it also falls under corporate governance, because when the board of directors discover that the financial accountant is maybe using the organization's money for their own good, I mean, they're supposed to whistleblow and get to deal with that person. So it also acts like it gives the stakeholders trust. When someone, you want to bring trust back to the organization. So as a whistleblower, you're supposed to have some, to be offered protection. Yeah, you're supposed to be offered protection. So organizations should come up with systems and ways to protect whistleblowers. Yeah, organizations should promote mechanisms for whistleblowing, to report concerns confidentially, protecting their identity to prevent retaliation. Yeah, this is a very sensitive duty to do. So as a whistleblower, one should be protected. Yeah, it should be confidential. It should be a confidential task. Yeah, declaring or bringing out the wrongdoing of the organization. Yeah, so that person should be protected. That person should remain anonymous. Yeah, there should be fair investigations to be done when a whistle is blown. Yeah, so then maybe to conclude the topic, we are going to finish by looking at ethics and technology. We now know that there is, with the emergence of corporate governance, yeah, there is a lot of globalization. There is technology. So ethics and technology intersect in numerous ways, given the increasing role of technology in various aspects of our lives. So we are here where we are discussing ethics and technology. Yeah, ethics and technology. And you're saying that the rapid advancement of technology has brought about both opportunities and challenges that require careful ethical considerations. So you're going to look at the privacy, areas where ethics and technologies intersect. Yeah, this is ethics. You can write ethics here and technology. Yeah, with advancement in technology, how do we mingle, or how do we incorporate ethics in technology? Yeah, areas where ethics and technology intersect, like look at privacy and data protection. Yeah, data protection. You're looking at data protection, privacy and data protection. Privacy and data correction. And we are saying the correction, storage, and use of personal data by technology companies raise ethical concerns about privacy and data security. Yeah, you realize that people give their data. Yeah, but is it safe? Is it protected? Yeah, how do you protect that data? Yeah, the data that people give to the organization, it should be well protected. It should remain private. Yeah, it should not be exposed to everyone. So ethical considerations include obtaining informed consent from the people you are collecting data from. Yeah, providing clear data usage policies. You should explain to the people you are collecting data from. And also safeguarding sensitive information where people give their age. Yeah, that should not be exposed to everyone. There should be privacy and data protection. And with that, then those are part of the ethics that should be applied in an organization where people give their data, personal data, which is very sensitive. But how does the organization protect? Yeah, how does the organization protect the personal or individuals' data? Look at cybersecurity. Yeah, that's one way. Then the issue of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity. Ethical considerations in cybersecurity involve protecting digital assets like cryptocurrency, yeah, preventing data breaches, and defending against data cyber attacks. Organizations have an ethical duty to secure customer data. When these customers give you data, their own data, their telephone number, do you expose the data to wrong hands? Yeah, there has to be protection. Data protection against malicious activities, because it should not fall into the wrong hands. It should be protected, and an organization has that responsibility of protecting customers' data, suppliers' data, and all data that is given to them willingly by individuals. Yeah. So let's look at maybe like e-waste, waste and environmental impact. The responsibility, disposal, and recycling of electronic waste is an ethical concern. How do we dispose our waste, digital waste? Yeah, how is it disposed? Electronic waste, laptop, computers, all those electronics, how are they supposed to be disposed? Yeah, there should be no gap of how those things are disposed from the organization. Yeah, ethics has to be taken into consideration so that there should be no environmental risks or environmental impact that comes with exposing of the organization's disposal of waste from the organization. So what about ethics and globalization? Yeah, ethics and globalization are closely intertwined, as the expansion of global interconnectedness brings about both opportunities and challenges that require ethical consideration. Globalization, maybe what we need to do first is define what is globalization. And globalization refers to the increasing integration of economies, culture, societies, and technology in a global scale. It's where we are saying that the world has become a village. Yeah, the world has become a village. Yeah, so there's a lot of globalization, mixing of cultures, yeah, mixing of societies, technologies on a global scale. The ethical dimensions of globalization encompasses a wide range of issues that impact individuals, communities, nations, and the world as a whole. So when cultures combine or mix or come together, when there is that integration of societies, economies, definitely the ethical standards tends to go down. Yeah, degrading of ethical standards. So areas where ethics and globalization intersect. So areas where globalization and ethics, they have to intersect is in areas like, look at labor and human rights. Look at labor. Yeah, we are saying that the world has become a village. And like now, you realize that there's a lot of migration of Africans going to Western countries or Western nations. A lot of people are applying for visas to go to Canada, Germany, US, and wherever else in search of greener pastures. And we are saying when they go to those places, ethics of those places, globalization can lead to the outsourcing of labor to countries with lower labor standards. Ethical considerations include ensuring when those people move from Africa to go to those countries, are they going to be considered when it comes to fair labor wages? How are they going to be paid? Are they going to find safe working and conditions? Is there going to be respect for human rights in all those regions? So with globalization, ethics has to come in where people should be treated equally, fairly, fair treatment. Working conditions should not be better for some and worse for others. So ethics has to be applied for all. Or are we going to say like the animal farm, that some animals are equal than others? No. With globalization, the issues of labor and fair treatment should apply. Fair trade and supply chain. Ethical trade practices involve ensuring that products are produced under conditions that respect human rights. There's a lot of, with globalization, fair trade and supply chain. When this company is manufacturing goods to be consumed by others, are they considering the risks, the things that they use to make those products or those components? Are they risky to the people who are going to consume those products? So we have to look at fair trade and supply. Let there be ethics so that guides the ethical, the standards. There should be standards and ethics that guide people when they are maybe doing production or involved in ensuring that products are produced under favorable conditions. Cultural diversity and identity. The spread of global culture can raise concern about cultural homogenization. So maybe we should think about how do we eliminate moral degradation. So culture diversity and identity. Let people maintain their ethical, let there be ethical discussions that involve respecting people's culture. So that you just don't be, just be carried by other people's culture and forget the culture that defines you as an individual. So that brings us to the end of this chapter. It has been an interesting chapter that defines the ethics, morality, the values of an individual. And in effect, it defines the organization or the business or the enterprise value system or culture of the organization. And it is expected of us as corporate secretaries to be people who promote positive ethics, to be ethically correct, and to demonstrate ethical values and ethical standards in our lives and in the places that we operate. So we come to the end of our lesson today. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next lesson. For now, kwaheri.